Okay, let's try this again. Stretching for joint mobility and muscular flexibility. They go hand in hand. My video yesterday got cut off, so I will start a new one. I'm just gonna do 2, maybe 3 stretches today. These can be held if it's okay with your body for a good amount of time to really get into these key areas. So as always, you wanna have a pretty warm body when you come into some stretches. This one, the warm-up I'm gonna show for this particular stretch is actually a piece of the stretch. So, and we do this with puppies in hand, of course. So the stretch I wanna show is a lunge. And so I'm actually just gonna kind of get my legs warmed up with some lunges. So this is a forward lunge. I'm not going too deep just yet, at least not for me. Again, everybody is going to be different in their journey of flexibility and even just body weight strength training, because that's essentially what we're doing here. Here's another nice little warm up of nice, stable, feet are still in one spot. Lateral lunge, I'll show that from the front. Just getting my legs warmed up, getting my blood flowing. And of course, you could do this after a jog, a walk, a run. Here's another one of my favorites. So this is a wide second position or a sumo squat. I would be using 2 arms if I wasn't holding a puppy. All right, so the stretch that I wanted to show, some have called it the world's greatest stretch. I don't think I disagree. It's certainly one of my top stretches. I'll lead with my right leg into a lunge. So I'm coming in to a lunge where I'm bending the front knee, lining up the joints of that front leg. The torso stays tall and the core is tight. First thing I notice in my body here is this awesome hip flexor stretch. So I've got the back leg nice and long. Of course, there's a little bit of work happening in this front leg, but this back leg is getting a beautiful stretch through that hip flexor. I don't feel like working that hard, so I'm gonna drop the back knee down to the ground and let the hips sink forward even more, guiding this front knee, and I'll turn to the side, out to the side a little bit. So now I'm getting into the hip, into the back ankle, and into this, the hip flexor, and into this front hip. I'm gonna take my hand and just guide the knee out to the side a little bit, opening up that hip and groin a little bit more, and then bring it back in. And then bring it out to the side, and bring it back in. So this is a lot. If you wanted more, or you've practiced this positioning a little bit more, I'm gonna just now turn to the front, same leg, I'll stick on the same leg. I'm gonna pull my hair back here. I am gonna take, this is not gonna be for every single body, I'm gonna take my outside hand of whatever leg is out front to the inside of that front foot. Holding this position, guiding the knee out to the side. Woo, and there we go. Now I'm gonna open up some more body parts here. I'm gonna take this hand that's not on the floor up toward the ceiling and pull the arm back. So now working into the chest, which I believe yesterday in our video, we talked a little bit about how our chest gets tight with our modern lifestyle. And I'm pulling that shoulder blade back toward the spine, pulling the arm back. So now we're getting hip flexor, hip, ankle, chest, shoulder, so many great things, back, etc. So the hand comes down, want to hold that for, 3 to 5 breath cycles minimum. But as you can see, that was kind of a progressive stretch. So we started with the lunge on or off the knee. I chose to come to the knee, so it's a little less muscular work and just a little bit more focused on flexibility. Guided the knee out to the side, bring it in, out to the side, bring it in, all the while the hips are gently coming forward, working into the hip flexor, working into the hip. Now I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna take the outside hand to the inside of the bottom foot, guide the knee out, woo, and in, and out, and in. So here we are, hip flexor, hip, ankle, on that back foot particularly, and then taking the hand to the inside of the foot, taking that top arm up toward the ceiling. Now this is great, but I want to come even deeper, so you can see my arm coming back a little bit more to get deeper into the chest, into the front of the shoulders, into the back, deeper into the hip. And of course, I'm talking a bunch, but Ideally, you're breathing very, very deeply. So an inhale to extend and open, and an exhale to deepen. Inhale, extend and open, exhale to deepen. This is why I think it's been called the world's greatest stretch, because it gets so many of our body's tighter spots: chest, shoulders, hips, hip flexors, a little bit of our ankle, etc. So that is the one stretch that I wanted to show today. That would be one that is so multifaceted that I would do as often as possible. Like, it could be done daily with profound results. And the second one, staying kind of in the same family of the hips, is called pigeon pose. Pigeon pose can be done in a few ways. I'm gonna turn my camera a little bit because I'm gonna use my countertop here to balance. So the first one is standing, and it's a balancing posture. I'm gonna flex the foot and bring it right above the other knee. And if that's not an option to bring it that tall, you can bring it below the knee. Just don't, if possible, don't rest the ankle or any part of your foot on the actual knee. Below or above is best. Then we sink the hips low. So I bent the bottom leg knee. I'm opening up that hip by just pressing that knee down. You can either press it down physically with your hand, or you can just use your body to do that. So this is standing pigeon, great for the hip. You could also work on balance. Woo! If you wanted to let go. I was holding onto a countertop. You could certainly do that. So that's one. Another great option, maybe a little less work, would be to do that same pose. I'll show this from the side here, on your back. So you take that top foot, I'm just gonna show the same one. You lay on your back, relax your head on the ground, and lift your bottom foot off the ground. I like to flex both feet. It protects the joint of the knee. It gives just a little bit more strength to that bottom leg. And now what I'm doing here is pulling this bottom leg closer to my torso to stretch deeper into that top hip and glute. So this is a really nice option if balancing or standing just, isn't for you today. And lastly, probably the most, maybe the most intense variation of this pose is a prone pigeon pose. So the one on our back is a supine pigeon pose. Prone pigeon pose is where we take whatever leg you're doing first up toward, well, I guess I'll start that again. Hands come down to the ground about shoulder width distance. We take whatever knee or whatever leg you're doing first up to the ankle. You can take it right behind wrist. Take it right behind the wrist, right to the side, etc. And you can hold here. I already feel this in the hip. This is a great one for hip mobility, opening up the knee, the quads, the ankle. It's a great ankle stretch as well. So this is a great place to start. I'll take a few deep breaths in here. Today I'm able to come down onto the forearms. Also, if you wanted to progress beyond that, take a few deep breaths here. You could also extend one or both arms, taking your forehead down to your mat or to the floor or to wherever you're stretching. You could also, if you're not quite getting your head down to the ground, you could also stack your fists and put your forehead on your fists. And then of course you would do both sides. That's a really good one to hold at least 30 seconds. So those are, let me just check. I wanted to finish up the joint and muscle flexibility. I'm not sure if I talked about this in the video yesterday, but the shoulder rolls, you want to do your shoulder rolls with that scapular retraction, so the shoulders roll back and down. And then you can do, then you protract the shoulder blades, rolling them forward. You can do one at a time, right? You do one at a time. I think I talked about this yesterday. You could rotate them forward. It's a simple, sort of sassy move with a lot of impact. And then wrist stretches as well. So you can do those wrist stretches just like this. You could use a countertop, right, to stretch here. You could also come down onto all fours, putting your weight on your hands and stretch them this way. Just bringing some attention and some love into the wrist joint. All right, so that is today's video. We're on a roll. Keep it up. Proud of all of us.